Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on into another installment of Mancave101. We have a special presentation for you today, but before we get into all that, let me introduce the guys. Live in the man cave, back in his normal spot. Leo, what is going on?
Okay, people. I told you, I like hitting you with different angles, baby.
Where Brooklyn at? Big Chase. What's happening, bro?
What's going on, folks? Can't wait, man. This is great, man. Our artist spotlight, man. We're gonna be producing some great content, dog.
That's right. That's right. And I am your man in the chair, Ron, and I stay in the same spot every single time because I'm consistent with it.
You're in the pocket.
All right. So as Chase alluded to, we are bringing you a new special presentation that we are starting today. It is called our Artist Spotlight, where we're going to bring in different artists, comic books, anime, everything you can think of, statuettes, everything. Yeah. So we are going to kick it off with our first guest. We are delighted to have him here. Met him at New York Comic Con. Nate Melendez,
hey.
What is going on?
What's up? What's up, Mancave crew?
Hey, what's up, bro? Hey, man, listen, welcome to the Mancave, man. Listen,
me, I'm mad big.
we want people to see you, man. Listen, number one, and first and foremost, I think I speak for all of us, man. We all fans of the work, man. It was great to meet you at the Comic Con. I know we copped some of your books and whatnot. I still got to cop a couple more, but I know we copped some of your books. You signed them off for us, man. We listen. We salute.
Oh, he has them right there.
Yeah,
I'm right here, bro.
We got it, bro.
Yeah.
We got it, bro. We salute you and whatnot. So we just wanted to take some time out, man, to salute you. Want to introduce you to some of the people that may not have, might not be familiar, but might have seen your work and just wasn't sure who you were and whatnot. Get some background on you, man. So, let's start it off, man. Like, so tell us how you got started, doing comic book art, man. Like, this is something that I know I've been into comic books since I was in elementary. So the idea of it, of even being a job at that time was like far off. I'm in the art to do graphics and stuff, but how did you get started?
That's a long story. Like, I don't know how much time we have. No, well, I've always drawn. Like, I've drawn my whole life. That's something I didn't do. My mom was an artist. I have uncles who are artists. My older brother's an artist. My sister's an artist. So they always say art was in the family, if that makes sense. Different variations of it, different styles. I gravitated more toward comic books, more towards comic book content as a kid because I was a huge fan of like the 90s X-Men, the Spider-Man show, 90s Batman, because I'm a 92 baby. I'm 30 years old.
Okay.
So I grew up in the 90s during that time. And I would say I gravitated more towards comics because my brother, I'm the youngest of 6, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Well, five siblings, then I have another sister as well. And everybody watched anime.
Okay.
Growing up. And we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment, and I was the youngest, so I never got to choose what we watched.
So Dragon Ball Z all the time?
So exactly. It was Toonami. Dragon Ball Z, Yu Yu Hakusho, Rurouni Kenshin, all that stuff, right?
Okay.
And I felt like it was forced on me, but I wanted to watch cartoons. I wanted to watch the Saturday morning stuff, Batman, the Yu-Gi-Oh, the Pokemon, all that stuff, right?
Right.
Those are kind of anime-esque, right?
Yeah.
But, and I gravitated more towards that. And then I was drawing all the time. I drew all the time in school, just random stuff, random characters, graffiti. I'm from New York, so graffiti is a huge influence.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
You talking me and Leo language right now.
Let me find out you did some art on the 8 train.
Yeah, let me find out. Got some throw-ups going on.
6 train.
6 train. 6 line, Leo. That's on you.
Okay.
So growing up, I did more of that, and then as I got older, because I grew up poor, so I couldn't afford comics, and then I used to get books here and there from friends, and sometimes from family. People give me comic books, and I just loved it. So I would draw more and more of that stuff, and I leaned more towards comic book art, leaving high school, and I started doing more commissions for people. I didn't know, like, if people told me about, you could do prints, you can do comic book covers. I didn't know what a blank cover was until after high school. I didn't know those existed, and I was like, oh crap, I can make my own book cover. Like, that's so unique. So I originally started doing sketch covers, trying to make the cover relevant to the story inside. And I was like, this is not the way everybody's going, but I tried doing that. And eventually I was just doing regular art on top of it. And I've been drawing now, doing like sketch covers and doing professional work for like 10 plus years.
Wow.
Okay, cool.
And if that, and I'm now published. So if that says anything, it says don't give up. People are gonna call you insane. They're gonna call you crazy. Because he's doing too much. No, it pays off eventually. You know, like it's that hard work and determination. Yeah. So it's been 10 plus years of doing conventions with just like what people consider fan art. You know, the prints, the sketch covers, and now this was my first New York Comic Con where I'm fully published.
That's dope.
Wow.
That's really
salute.
Cool.
That's a salute, bro. Oh, Jesus.
Listen.
Wow, to get published after 10 years and you kept going, that shows some major perseverance. And coming from the 6 train and probably from the boogie. So I already know.
No, I'm from Spanish Harlem.
Wow.
So we got to get it neither one way or another.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, and that's important what you said, because a lot of times I know I come from a technology and art, you know, background with myself. And both of my sons are in the industry now. They're doing, you know, animation and all of that. And I remember having a conversation with one of his counselors who was saying that, it's going to be very hard for him to find a job as a creative. And I'm like, but there are jobs out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Out there. Like, you have to put toward and understand that my kids, I never put I put the pencil and the pen and all that in their hands at young ages, but they took this on their own, especially the animation stuff like what's that, Minecraft? That the Minecraft, and there was a couple of other games that were like open software stuff where you can like program the game and all that. They discovered this stuff on their own. So my thing is, once you see that your kid has some type of acumen and some type of talent, just invest in it. We invest in so much, but we don't invest enough in our kids sometimes. So, you know, so that's great, man. And then you just stuck with it. That's definitely dope. So, what was your first like paid gig? Like, what did you draw?
It was Snake Eyes. My best friend will tell the story religiously. Yes. It was the first paid thing I did. It was a commission. And it was my best friend who bought. It was a huge piece. It wasn't 11 by 17. It was probably 19 by 12. Okay. Snake Eyes, black and white. Wow. It probably sold for like $40.
Dope.
I think and he'll bring it out every now and again framed. And I think it's the ugliest piece of work because it's so old. And I've gotten so much better since then. And that was the first time I got paid for work.
He's smart. He knows, bro.
Exactly. You want someone to frame the first piece? Yes, I got to.
Yeah, got to frame that one.
On McFarlane level, he's gonna pull that shit out and get $1 million for that tip.
Exactly.
And I joke with him. I'm like, I gotta get you another one. I gotta get you a Storm Shadow from this year, where it'll match. And it won't match. The styles are 2 completely different styles by now. But it'll be a first, not a finished, because I'm not finished with my career, but it'll be like a 10-year gap.
Different. Dude,
or a 12-year gap. That's actually 12 years old.
He's coming a lot of good money, bro.
He has a bunch. He used to just to support when I started selling stuff, and then now he comes to shows with me to help me out at the table.
That's a good friend, bro.
So where's the merch?
Okay.
Every now and then, you know, like he supports through and through.
Listen, shout out to what's your friend's name, bro?
Quentin.
Shout out to you, Quentin, because you're a real friend. You're a real friend, bro. We shout out to you, my guy, and whatnot. You guys are
another New Yorker, born on the 4 line. He used to live by the Yankee Stadium, and now he's in Dykeman. So he's a New Yorker.
Okay. Fellow Bronx kid. Right. I have a question for you. Which is your favorite character to draw, if you had one?
My favorite character to draw would have to be.
I know it's hard because I've seen your work, bro. You have a lot of great stuff.
It's it's the weird characters that I like to draw. But like my go-to for speed, like there's different questions there. Like if somebody was like, "Hey, are you gonna do like free sketches?" I'm gonna draw Batman and Spider-Man all day
Okay.
because those I can draw the fastest.
Don't tell the that, bro.
My my favorites, as far it has to be like intricate, like the Bat Who Laughs.
Okay.
All those extra pieces, like the spike mask and the buckles on the shoulder pieces, on like those leather pieces on his outfit, stuff like that. I love to challenge myself and draw it to get that texture down.
Right.
Or somebody like Mr. Freeze, to get the frost on the glass is tricky with a pen and pencil, but it's stuff like that I like to challenge myself with. So those are more fun.
Okay.
How long does it take you to do like a commission like that?
9x12, with like a head sketch or bust sketch from like torso up.
Yeah.
It's gonna take me like an hour and a half.
Okay.
Depending on if I have the image in my head already.
Oh wow.
Takes
me an hour and a half to find the pens and the pencil.
Exactly.
No, I draw really fast because I learned early on doing shows, like if you don't train or practice to draw fast, you're gonna be there all day. You're gonna get one commission and you're gonna work on that one commission, right? Yeah. So you're basically making that one amount of money the whole show. So I was like, no, I got to be able to get out multiple commissions per show. So now I draw really fast. And then I challenge myself by watching the greats. So like watching videos like artists like JimLee draw Gambit 11x17 full ink work in 8 minutes. I'm like, there's no way, bro. I got to be able to do that.
It took me 8 minutes just to look at it. Jesus Christ.
And then years and years of just practicing, That's all it is. It's
10 years in the business, man. It's accomplishment, and doing what you're doing now, and how and seeing the work that you've been putting out. It's like we said, we're fans before anything else. So once we got an opportunity to actually sit down and talk to you, it was a great chance for us,
bro. So who are some of your favorite artists? Do you have any?
I like my top favorite artists are always going to be J. Scott Campbell, Joe Madeira, Humberto Ramos, JimLee, and then we have the Greg Capullos, the Jonathan Galpeon who inks for them. Of course Frank Miller. I love some of his work. Some stuff is his sketch work I can't make out sometimes, but his detailed work, like his large work, I love.
Yeah.
Who's it? There's so many.
I know. I'm a big. I think we're all big Clayton Crane fans.
Yes, Delato, as well as one of my favorites, Clayton Crane.
Mike Mayhew is actually one of my favorites because he does a lot of urban stuff with Spider-Man, which I love and whatnot.
Mark Brooks is another one of my favorites. Big Mark Brooks fan.
Yeah, Mark Brooks is. John Jiang. I like John Jiang. He does some great stuff too.
So I also just want to take this time to I'm going to actually put up some of your like a little presentation we put together of your work. So if there's anything you want to talk about as it goes by, you're just going to see a video here. You're going to be our size now, so you don't have to feel you know what I mean? Yeah. We're just going to run some of your work, including your your website where people can. So if you want to talk about that at all, like where people
these.
Yeah, I mean, talk about whatever. See something, or if you want.
So these are sketch covers. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. Go shoot.
These are all just sketch covers. These are the bread and butter of me doing conventions. Like people love the original art. This one right here. I don't know if you guys can pause it. This was the.
Oh, I can pause
that. That was back there. That was Ninjettes #1 that just came out not that long ago. That was my third cover in my repertoire.
Yeah, we copied
my lineup of covers.
I was gonna say we got.
We could not pass that one. That had to get copped.
This one was it was a cool commissioned cover to work on because it went with 2 other books, but it didn't connect.
Okay.
Because there were 3 covers for Ninjettes #1 because there's 3 main characters and they were all done by different artists, and I was just lucky enough to be one of those artists.
Okay.
The Spider-Man that's coming up next. Right, that's a example of like a bust commission on a 9x12. This is one of those where I just inked it. That was one of those pieces where I just drew it live just to draw it, and it was just pencil and ink. And then the guy who ended up buying it paid extra to get it colored, so I threw the colors on it. and I actually like it a lot more with the colors, because sometimes there's stuff that you can do with colors that just doesn't show with black and white, and vice versa. You know, we see sometimes we like the black and white because you get more of the detail, because you lose some of it in the color. But this one, I would like the slime coming off of the teeth is just white ink pen that I wouldn't have added on a just black and white, because you wouldn't have seen it. You would have just seen the gaps in the black lines.
Right.
But getting to color it, I get to add those effects to it, which make it pop that much more.
Wow.
Okay.
I love the shadowing. The shadowing does it for me.
Yeah, it's dope, and I like the line work. I'm one of those guys that's really like the detail and whatnot in the artwork. That's everything for me, and dope.
There's that graffiti background we were talking about.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yo,
New York City right here.
Man, it's classic New York City miles, man. I love that right there.
So I was looking to do something for Chicago, because I was at C2E2 last year.
Okay.
Well, this year actually. It was earlier this year. And I was like, what better to do than Miles Morales lacing up his Chicago ones, you know? Right away to go to Chicago, and then I'll have him. I was like, I want to add the Spider-Man logo in there, and I warped it out a little bit. But then I was like, how do I make it look like it's not just the logo? And I was like, oh, why not throw it up as the graffiti that he would have just finished?
Yeah, exactly. It's dope. That's really dope, bro.
But the fun part for this for me was really just figuring out all the graffiti in the background.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can.
That's a lot of detail, bro. Jeez.
If people don't realize that, you know, I won't say it's easy, but it's easier to draw something with detail than to make it kind of blurry and like fade it out and still have people like, you know, be able to make it out and whatnot. So you can definitely tell, because I see some of the 3D work back there on the cover. So somebody definitely knows what they're doing with the trains and stuff.
I appreciate it. Don't post that part. I don't need the cops knowing that I live on the 6th line. This one was a random piece. I believe this is an Overwatch character. I just love the way this character looked, and I was like, the challenge for this one, I was like, you can color everything and you can get everything, you know, detailed, but I wanted to add scratches to the metal. So that's why you see a little bit of the weathering around the corners where the paint is chipping off. And it's those little details that I try to show. And then the fact that she has freckles, but you can't really see when you post it online too much. Right. All these little details and stuff like this. This is an good example of some of my digital work.
Okay. Well, so actually, I don't even think we asked you that. So like, do you more so, I know you mentioned, you know, ink pens and stuff like that. Do you kind of dabble in a little bit of everything as far as your work goes? I know you just said digital. I know you just said ink. So like, do you do a little bit of everything? Paint? Like, talk to us about that.
Yeah, I do. I think that comes with just me being like super creative. I try it all, honestly. Like, I have huge canvases in my living room that were painted by me. I don't hang my own prints, but I do hang, you know, other artists' prints. But like, I do the digital work for the prints because it saves me money on supplies. I do the traditional for like commission work, and sometimes just the sketch covers. They're all traditional. There's no way I'm gonna do that digital. But most of my prints are the digital work.
Okay. Cool. So I know you mentioned. So I know this is an Overwatch character. So now you know I got to ask the question, because I'm the gamer of this group. Do you game?
Who, me?
Yeah. Do you game?
No, not at all.
You don't? Okay. Interesting.
I'm very again grew up in a house.
Okay.
I had 5 siblings. I have another sister that makes it 6. But growing up as the youngest, you never get a turn.
Of course you don't.
You never get a turn. Or I was just trash in regular games. Like, we would play Smash Brothers, and I'll get washed every time. And I'm just like, this ain't even fun. I'm gonna go back to drawing.
Yeah, like, I want to play with you guys.
I had to ask also the Overwatch character, so I was like, oh, maybe he games a little bit, but I hear you.
I love video games as far as like artwork, and I love the stories. Like, I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan. Never played the games. I just follow. Like, growing up, I watched my brothers play the game,
right?
And that was kind of enough for me. I would sit there and watch, and I'm like, "Yo, the story is dope." My brother's taking awfully long on this mission, though. Let's get to the next part.
Yeah.
But no, it's not like Final Fantasy. I love all the artwork for that.
All right. So let's talk about some of the stuff that you currently out. I know we mentioned the Ninjette, which we just saw. What other projects do you have out?
Currently out right now, there's a Vampirella project that's been out since February because it was a Valentine's Day exclusive. We have a Fairy Tale month. When I say we, I say Comic Exposure and me because they're the ones who get the covers. Like they're the ones who commission. Like this is the Vampirella.
Okay.
This was the Valentine's Day one, hence the little heart of blood on her chest, and then the roses in the background. We have that. Then there's just the Ninjettes, the Vampirella, the Red Sonja, and
scroll through and find it real quick.
There was also the Boogeyman, the New York Comic Con exclusive Boogeyman.
Yeah, we got that somewhere in here.
I think that they are in here. Oh,
there we go. Those are three. Those are the three projects that are currently out. The Boogeyman is also out. There are still copies now floating around all over comic book shops because I just Dynamic Forces picked it up, and this book specifically is in previews. So now comic book shops nationwide can order this.
Okay.
And let's see I don't know how far it's gonna spread, but I hope it spreads. You know.
Yeah. Listen, I bet it would. So, what's the story on the Boogeyman? What's the overall story theme or whatever?
Well, the Boogeyman centers around a child main character whose parents are killed by Boogeyman, and he gets trained by a Boogeyman, and he's raised by a Boogeyman to fight other Boogeymen.
Yo, that's dope. Sounds like a movie, bro. Hey, Netflix.
And when I heard of this story and when they were talking about the opportunity, I remember they gave me 5 days to come up with the cover, right? And they came up with this concept of recreating the movie poster. Okay. And I had to draw all that detail there in 5 days, which is doable. It was just crunch time for me because as soon as I heard, hey, it's going on a New York Comic Con exclusive, I was like, I'm in. Right? Like, son of a bitch, I'm in.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, bro. That's dope.
And then currently in the works, are we talking about what's in the works?
Yeah, definitely. Sure.
In the works, which is done, you guys, I think you brushed past it on the video here, is the Catman and the Kitten, #1.
Oh, I can go back to that.
Yeah,
hang on. I'll go back.
That one is exclusive for the Bronx Con that's coming up on December 10th.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm excited because it's my first connecting cover.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because there will be it's I think 4 covers in total. It's 2 images, the same as Catman and the Kitten. Okay. And I believe it's going to be just a regular cover, and then there's going to be a metal variant.
Uh-oh.
Oh wow!
That metal variant's going to be super limited.
Oh wow! So
it may be limited.
Can we get the plug?
Listen, one thing about the Man Cave, bro, we all are addicts and whatnot. We constantly make the joke like, just put it in the vein right there. We don't do anything but spend money on this stuff. So this sounds like a must have, especially for all of us and whatnot.
I'm excited because it's 4 basically covers that adds that to my little resume of covers. But I'm excited.
I got a quick.
I'm excited. Go ahead.
Who was your favorite Batman?
Who, like movie wise?
Movie wise.
Why are we going? I
gotta ask.
Because Batman's my favorite DC character. My favorite movie Batman is Ben Affleck.
That's not what Leo wanted to hear.
Not a lot of people like it. But I just think he's a little bit more comic book accurate to the Batman now.
Okay.
They mixed him with the Frank Miller Batman, of course. Like we got that big, brooding, huge bat.
Right.
But as far as like movement, I feel like he moves like what Batman should be. His costume isn't just tactical gear, even though we did get a tactical gear version of him in Justice League. I also feel his Bruce Wayne. You saw how in BVS when he's hiding the device in Lex Luthor's house to copy the data, and he's talking and he gets caught, and he has to pretend to be a drunken idiot who basically couldn't find the bathroom. You see how his face changes immediately to, I can't stay down here, Alfred. Something has to happen. Like you see he's annoyed with putting up the facade of the Playboy. So I was like, oh, that's something that's real to Batman. He has to put up a facade. And also, I get tired of movies trying to take his company away from him. Like that shouldn't matter. Let him be a billionaire with no money issues, and let him focus on the Batman side of it.
Right.
That is very true.
I'm a huge Ben Affleck Batman fan.
Right.
I like all of them because I'm a huge Batman fan in general. Yeah. But Ben Affleck, I would be really excited if he came back and did some more work.
Yeah, I think part of the story with that is that because there's so many of the stories, a lot of supervillains and a lot of issues come from Wayne Tech. And I think that's one of the reasons they keep adding that they keep trying to take the company from, because it seems like there's a lot of things going on in his industries he doesn't even know. Like, so when they first started with Morgan Freeman, and Morgan Freeman's like the engineer that built everything, and he's like, oh yeah, we had this program and we had this stuff, and I'm like, he's got like huge super complexes where they're building all of these crazy gizmos, and he has no idea he even owns this shit and whatnot, which I just thought was hilarious.
We're about to get into some unpopular opinions.
We're about that though.
This is what we're here for.
We're here for that.
I felt like Christopher Nolan's Batman was dumb. Like, he didn't make any of his own things. Like, he put it together in the end, but like Lucius Fox really made all the things for him. He didn't really show his genius. He really wasn't also that great of a detective. He was a driven superhero, and he did what was right in the end. But like, as far as detective work and finding things out and then making his own gadgets, no, he lacked there. And I get it because we got a more realistic view of it, because that was Christopher Nolan's whole thing, is we want to get a realistic Bruce Wayne, we want to get a realistic Batman, right? We want to use as little bit of visual effects because we want to make it more grounded. But we got a dumber Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I don't think that's
how did you feel about the Bat?
The Batman.
The last Batman.
The last Batman.
Robert
Pattinson.
Yeah.
I like that universe. I'm not a big fan of him as Batman. I'm not a big fan of that Batman costume. But I think the universe that they would build that way works as a story. Like, they brought, again, everybody's always trying to bring this realistic feel to it. So the Riddler being like the Zodiac killer from real life,
right.
I was like, all right, that kind of fits. That's what a Riddler would be. We're not gonna get the bowler hat and the suit with all the question marks on it. As much as we want it, as much as we like, just stick to the material. There's literally years and years and years of material written for you. You don't gotta write a script. Just take a series of comic books and use that as your guide. Go scene for scene, and we'll probably, as fans, be like, holy shit, that's exactly what we read growing up. But they're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a cool universe it was a good universe start. And I feel like it does tie in with Joker.
Yeah, we actually hate that movie. Charles is not here right now. It's the only person that likes the movie. I personally, there's so many things that happen in that movie that I absolutely hated. The biggest being, I hated that Batman was not confident with his equipment when he jumps off the building and he flies and he lands and rolls and like runs into a car. Yeah. Absolutely hated that. I absolutely deplored the Riddler, because the Riddler, to me, never really got his due. He's a genius. And the way that they just made him kind of, like you say, the Zodiac killer, he has those maniacal behaviors, but he's a genius. And I felt like they really kind of took him down. I hated his fucking costume. Absolutely disgusting.
You want the garbage bag? We gotta let the garbage bag.
That shit was terrible, bro. Like, I don't even want to get started. We got guests here, so I'm not.
You don't mean to tell me you don't like the Bass Pro Fish Shop outfit he had on?
That's a good way to put it. That's a very good way to put it. That's a good way to put it.
Dude, when he pulls out the tape, when he pulls out the duct tape and he starts wrapping the guy's head, I'm just like, what the fuck am I watching? Like, what the?
You mean when he straddles the mayor?
Yeah.
And then pulls out that. There's some things I don't like, but I'm a huge cinematography fan.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some scenes in that movie that are just gorgeous, like the scenes in the building looking over Gotham with the sun right at the right place and the way the colors. Those things I really love in movies. Right. But as far as like as far as a Batman movie, it was an interesting start, and if they're going to continue, it's very interesting to see which way they want to go with this. Because I heard rumors today that they would love for the villain to be Sandman in the next Batman movie.
Right.
Because Sandman is a DC character. And I said, well, that's a bit different. We've never seen that before.
Yeah.
Right? As far as movies.
Yeah.
But let's see where they take it.
And they also brought out, too, they wanted to be, again, Scarecrow. They want to do a new retake on Scarecrow as well. That's another bit of news that came out today.
I'm cool with not seeing Scarecrow again. That's fine.
That's the one thing we always gripe about. We were like, listen, we know Batman. Stop revamping him. Give us new characters.
My favorite Batman villain is Mr. Freeze. If you could do a Mr. Freeze movie done right.
You mean not Arnold?
You didn't like Arnold?
Oh, Arnold is legend. Arnold is legend.
He was like a pinball machine.
I wouldn't be surprised if they gave us a Mr. Freeze that's exactly like Arnold. Big
Yeah.
old suit.
Yeah.
Again?
Yeah.
Nothing but ice puns.
all day and every day.
Oh wow!
My favorite scene in the Arnold Mr. Freeze would have to be when his henchman's trying to eat a TV dinner that's a block of ice.
The black guy.
All right, so I got to ask a question, and this is one that just impromptu, only because we have you on the big screen. So I could, unfortunately for you, see in the background, I see a bunch of Funko Pops going on back there, like a bunch of Funko Pops.
There's way more than that.
I'm sure.
I have horrible lighting in the room because it's
you're good. You're
this
good.
is where I draw, so it's just my desk lamp.
Sure.
I keep those on the shelf because those all have stickers on them, so they're all exclusives, and those are like the ones I went hard to get.
I was gonna say certain ones you like to collect, anime, Marvel, DC, anything like anything particular.
Well, I was collecting all wrong, and I don't advise this to anybody because I was like, when I started collecting Funko Pops, I would like one. Like, say if I liked Iron Man from Civil War, I was like, all right, now I got to get the whole set, and it's like 8 Funko Pops. So I was doing that for the longest. I was going hard to get these sets just because I liked one, and I was like, this sucks. I only wanted the one, but no, it's rare. I have all the Funko Pops that I wanted because I'm a huge Avatar fan, I'm a huge Batman fan, I'm a huge Iron Man fan. So I got the ones that I really like. So now the Funko really has to stick out to me. Like we love everything as comic book fans, right?
Of course.
Like one that stuck out to me was Hellboy. When they have the Hellboy chase or exclusive was him with the horns and the crown.
Yes,
that's made of fire. So I went and I got that Funko Pop, but just because I like the way it looked as a pop.
Right.
And every now and again I'll get an exclusive.
I'm going to do that
or something.
I'm going to do that same thing, but your Iron Man is my Black Panther. I looked at my collection the other day, and I was like, I have every Black Panther pop that ever existed on planet Earth, and I don't know why, but that is what it is.
That's one thing. This thing is addictive, it's compulsive, and you're always afraid that if you don't get it, you're going to find out later that you should have gotten it. So you rather have it, not need it, than need it, not have it.
I think we all have that story of something that we should have gotten, and we just didn't at the time because it was like, I'll probably find it next week or something. Wrong.
Yeah.
And we regret it. Like, I was actually talking with a friend of mine recently who was talking about getting Amazing Fantasy, the first appearance of Spider-Man years ago. It's an older guy years ago, and he was it was a guy who was selling his shop. It was closing down. 14 or 15. I'm butchering this number right now. It was a shop years ago, years ago, where they tried it. The guy was like, if you want it, I'll sell it to you for $400. It was ungraded, horrible condition, and he didn't pick it up. This is a much older gentleman, so this is probably not as important now to like it would be for us, right? $400, yes, absolutely.
I don't care if it didn't have a cover on.
He regrets never getting it,
Yeah.
And for me, that was Walking Dead #1.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because when it came out, I don't know if anybody remembers this, but Forbidden Planet used to be on the corner of the block, not where it is today.
Yeah, right.
And I remember going in as a kid. I'm not a huge zombie fan, and I bought something, and they were offering that book for free with purchase. And I was like, no, I don't need it. Who wants zombies, right?
Oh, man.
I didn't pick it up. My friend picked it up at the time. Picked up 2. And he has them to this day. They're not in the greatest condition, but he still has them. And he'll remind me every now and again. He's like, remember when you passed up Walking Dead #1 because you were talking about, like, nobody's going to read zombies? And I was like, every time you're going to remind me of this? All right, man.
Yeah. Mine's is actually the Miles Morales, the what's that one?
Ultimate Fallout.
Ultimate Fallout. So I it's funny because Charles and I are brothers. I got Charles into comic books, and then he picked it up and he ran with it, and I was away for a period of time from it, and then I just recently got back into it. So I'm like getting my footing back and getting my focus back on what I should buy, and I'm looking at a live auction online, and Ultimate Fallout's there. And at the time, I'm like still trying to like figure out, well, you know, what should I get? Da, da, da. And at the time, I think the Ultimate Fallout book was like $75, and I was just like, all right, I'll get it next week. And then the following week, it had jumped to like $325, and I was just like, what the fuck? And I was like, and I was like, okay. And I was trying to scramble to get it, and then by the time I got back around to trying to buy it, the book was like $700 going into $1,000. And I was like, it was like out of my hands at that point. But I constantly came. I was like, damn, I should have just grabbed that book at the time.
We all have those stories that, like, mine was, I'm a big Thundercats fan. So mine was not getting the pop of Lionel when it first came out. And that one's
now you look at that pop.
Well, and now I look at that pop, it's $700. And I'm like, oh, I had it for $50. It was in my hands. I was like, do I want to waste $50 on a bobblehead? I was like, I can get it another time. It won't be all right.
I don't have any cool stories like that, but Nate, I actually wasn't supposed to get into comics. Like, we started this podcast, and I was like, nah, I'm not going to get into comics. And now I check my app on my phone, and I'm pushing 400. So, you know, we just all these guys flip the switch, and now all of a sudden I can't stop picking up every book I see everywhere.
And then now, like, I look even as an artist, and I'm at shows. I get so upset when I miss out on exclusives. Like, I'm at New York drawing the whole time, right? And I'm sitting at the table the majority of the time, and then I see people get exclusives. I'm like, fuck, like I should be walking around looking for these books, or like I just don't know, you know, because it's hard to know it all. Like, I didn't know why Peach Momoko was so popular. My whole convention, her work is amazing, and I'm now a fan. Like, I got to meet her, and I got to and I have her on social media now, but my whole convention was spent looking for the reason why she popped.
Yo, see,
I was like, what book was it that she did that she jumped on to Marvel and then just blew up? Because for her to just be the biggest name in the building right now, there has to be a reason. And that's what I spent my convention trying to learn. And then I randomly got to meet her one morning before the show started, because she was walking the show floor with her interpreter. And my friend I was walking around with was like, oh, let me introduce you. That's Peach. And apparently he's been talking to her all weekend, getting signatures. And I word vomit of affirmation of I'm such a huge fan of this, because I am now. And I didn't know she didn't speak English. So my friend had to tell me, like, yo, stop. Her interpreter needs to interpret this. Like, so I felt so bad, because I'm like, first, I love meeting people like that, but I didn't know. I just didn't know.
And she was also doing on her booth for 25 signatures for free.
Yeah, 25 signatures for free, bro.
Yeah, and then there was a huge issue with, like, some apparently people arguing, and
it was a fight.
She made her cry and stuff. I want people to argue in front of my stuff. Bring
the fight over here.
Like a damsel. I'm just like, fellas, please. Calm down.
She, like you said, like you were saying, she is so. We have one of our guys got a couple. Actually, Aaron, he got a couple. Did you get a couple signed?
No, Wendell got to go over and just speak to her, and she was like, she was doing a sketch, and he just went over and was like, oh, I just want to let you know, like, I'm a big fan of your work. And she was like, oh, thank you. Like, she was super nice about it, but she was not doing signings at that time, because she was caught up doing a sketch and all that.
And whatnot. But I think with Peach Momoko, a lot of her covers tend to seem a lot different than the standard artwork on a lot of her stuff. Because when I first started seeing some of her work, it didn't match a lot of, you know, what we're used to seeing in superhero covers, and some of the stuff actually looks like stained glass window stuff in terms of how it's made and all of that. And I think that the anime aspect of her work, what it looks like, might be the reason that it's just starting to pull a lot, because a lot of her line work and stuff just is kind of reminiscent of anime. And being an anime so big right now, I think that people just started, like, gravitating toward that look and feel, you know.
Yeah.
And it probably helps that, you know, okay, anime's big and her name's Momoko, and they're like, oh, you know, and I think that's the reason why people are just so pulled to it. She does excellent work, though. She really
Yes.
does.
Her work is insane. I'm a huge fan now. I'm always a fan of the artist who goes above and beyond as far as like leaves the traditional or the norm. Like David Mack.
Oh yes.
Was introduced to me through my best friend. I didn't know much about him. And then upon looking at the work and seeing all the water, you know, the water paint stuff and all the weird markings, and it's almost abstract in that way of the way he puts everything together, but it's still comic book covers and comic book work. So I'm intrigued by it all. And stuff like that, since it pulls you in that direction, it's not normal. It's something that for me, I'll notice more because I'm like, I'll have more questions for that.
Right.
You know, than the traditional guy.
Ooh, wait, I got one question for you. What is your holy grail? Every collector, every comic book head or artist has a holy grail that if he could purchase it, what would that thing be?
Oh, there's several.
I know there's a lot. Everybody has
that we all want. I want Walking Dead #1, right? I would have to say, it would have to be a signed JimLee Hush.
Oh,
okay,
nice.
Wow,
okay. Nice.
Yeah,
good pick. Good. Wow,
signed JimLee Hush. Because
wow.
Hush is one of my favorite storylines for Batman. I was upset that they changed it in the animated movie. But if I could get a signed JimLee Hush, that's my holy grail right there. That's one of the pieces that I would really want.
Okay. JimLee, if you're watching, the brother needs
If there's anything signed by JimLee, like I have some stuff signed by him. Because we're fans. We've been to the Midtown Comic signings. We've been to the Comic-Con signings.
Okay.
But I have some stuff. But if I got to get a Hush #1, well, the first Hush piece, and then get that signed, and then I'd be real happy with my Batman collection.
Okay.
So, what upcoming events do you have? Like, I know you mentioned BronxCon in December. What else you got coming up?
In like 2 weeks, a little bit under 2 weeks, I'm gonna be at the Long Island Comic Book Expo.
I'll see you there.
I'll see you there. That's the 19th and 20th, right?
Yeah, the 19th and 20th. Yeah.
I'm going. I'm not going as a vendor, but for Anime NYC, it's going to be my first year going or attending that show. I'm going just Friday, which is the Friday before the Long Island show.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if it's something that I want to do for the following year, because it's last year. Lord knows what happened with COVID, and it was a mess, and everybody got sick.
Out there, yeah.
Just from people taking photos with too close contact with each other,
Right.
But I'm gonna go this year just to see if it's something that I do, because I have a ton of anime work.
Yeah.
Because the fandom is getting so big, and I started drawing in all these intricate characters that I would never know.
Pop some of those.
Well, I know who Naruto is.
Of course. We'll bring up some of the anime work too.
So
like Arcane is from video games.
Yeah. Let's see here. I'll back up and find some. But go ahead, Chase.
You mentioned about commission work. Do you normally keep commission work open? Because I know a lot of artists have periods and times where they do commissions where they're open, and then they'll close out commissions for a period of time. How does that generally work with you?
I cycle through my list. If a spot opens up, one closes. Vice versa. If one closes because I've sent it out, there's a spot that's open for somebody who wants to get a commission done.
Okay.
I have the hard habit of not saying no. It's not the easiest thing for artists because, it keeps you busy.
Yeah.
But as an artist, the worst thing that can happen to you is you're in the middle of your commission list and you're getting a bunch of work done and you're taking a bunch of work on, and then you hit an artist block like that and you're just uninspired, unmotivated, and it's hard to finish a piece.
Yeah.
But I keep going. I try to keep going.
All right. So, can you just tell the people where to find you on your socials, your website, and all of that sort of thing? I know we got some of it up, but just
Yes. All right. So Instagram is the best way if you want to see the most amount of my more recent work. It's going to be on my Instagram and my website. So Instagram is Natwa Art, NATWAART. I don't know if we can plug that on the screen somehow.
I'm doing it right now.
At the beginning of the video.
Yep.
There it is. Well, no, that's Natwa-Art. But for Instagram, it's just Natwa Art. But that is the website, natwa-art.com. I put my books up there, like sketch covers, like the one you see on the screen. which is the Loki TVA one that I was working on. Stuff like that goes on the site, and it sells. If it sells, it sells. If not, you're gonna see it travel with me to shows, as well as prints and people and other original art. Facebook, I don't have like a big Facebook following because I keep that more for like older family members who just don't want to give it up.
We'll put all of Nate's socials in our in the description, just so this way if anybody wants to check it out, we'll make sure we'll edit everything in. But.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah. And then as far as TikTok, it's Nate's Wall Art on TikTok. That I save for all the time lapse stuff for the digital work.
Okay.
Because I use Procreate on my iPad. Okay. And one of the benefits of that is it records everything you do.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah.
So I can just make that into like a 30-second video and then throw it up on TikTok, and people love that.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, I've seen some of that. Yeah, it is good. All right, so listen, Nate, man, we appreciate your time, man. Thank you for coming.
Thank you guys for having me.
Hey, listen, man, thanks for showing up.
Yes, brother.
We appreciate you coming on, man, for real.
Yeah, don't forget, man, you guys check him out, Nate-art.com. Check him out on all the socials in the description.
Link will be in the description below. Yes.
Below. Don't forget to check us out. Usually Thursdays, 8 p.m. this week because of the Black Panther Wakanda Forever. We will be doing a special edition on Wednesday and whatnot. Next week, we'll be back to our regular time at 8 p.m. Big Chase and Aaron, Leo, Paquetto in the place, and of course, the great Nate Melendez. Special guest, our artist spotlight. Hey, where's my music?
I got you.